Subtlety isn't the strongest suit of Battlefield 1's war stories, but I always enjoy a nice match cut. Right from the start, we are shown a side of World War I that is not commonly talked about: the Harlem Hellfighters. When the game was released, people were complaining that black people weren't a part of World War I, and how dare they put a black man on the cover. And I just say, who cares? First, there were black men that fought in World War I, evident by, I don't know, the Harlem Hellfighters' existence, and why not have them represented on the front cover? The 369th Infantry Regiment was on the front lines longer than any other American unit and sustained the most casualties. And having their regiment on the cover and open the game for us perfectly sums up DICE's goal with their war stories. I'll talk more on that later. God, having Dream a Little Dream play while all this carnage takes place really makes you think. All these men have families and people waiting for them back home. And is this opening effective in establishing the horrors of war, or what? The simple text with the drum beats is amazing for building tension before we are thrown on the front lines. Jesus, that's a pill. Just letting the player know that really hammers home all the points this opening is trying to drive. DICE has never not made a gorgeous game. I tried playing through with no HUD. I tried, but was I ever immersed for the first time playing without it? I like how they put you in the gunner seat. You're not the driver like later. You're forced into this claustrophobic view of the battlefield.
Incoming! Welcome to Grandpa!
Seeing this jaded soldier just walking aimlessly and this other one cowering reminds us just how terrible this conflict was. I had my HUD off so the names didn't show up, but after each soldier's death, we are given their name and year of birth to death, reminding us that each of these men were people.
Every once in a while, we push hard enough that the light breaks through the clouds. And a world beyond the war glimmers. But behind every gun sight is a human being.
If the game had a thesis, it's this. Not so subtle foreshadowing about Big Bess. Always like a good match cut.
Listen, son, you find forward and reverse when you're told you'll do all right for me.
Keeping things simple for the new guy. I always enjoy some horns in my war. Flicks, media, entertainment.
Whoa, no, don't sweat.
For how short the campaign is and when the game released, our shooter stories were in danger of not existing. But with that said, these cutscenes are really well shot and acted. I could watch a movie made by DICE. Having things such as this happen during gameplay instead of a cutscene is great. Watching the Germans crawl around the tank from our third-person camera is for some reason more scary than the cutscene itself. The contrast of this pigeon flying to command is a really nice break from all the carnage.
Here it comes, boys. Nice serving with your lads.
Courage. Did you see that? I'll play it again. When you rack focus on a camera, there's a slight zoom in or out. They aren't using real cameras for this, obviously, but still adhering to the rules of camera so it feels normal to us. Amazing attention to detail.
What, Edwards, what?
So she needs new spark plugs.
Edwards is a great mechanic. One look and he knows what Bess needs.
I've ran more f***ing missions than you have had hot dinner, son.
Well, man, just f***ing go.
Loyalty.
Find the parts, get the tank running, don't die.
We all need to-do lists. Saving your driver.
There's no right way in a place like this.
We'll find one. You're the driver.
I love this exchange between them. Edward goes from the new guy to driver of the group.
Nice work, boys. Yeah. We did good, didn't we?
Aye.
Edwards, of course, didn't have to lie for McManus, but did anyway.
Dang, I thought you liked to bloody well fight!
Bess really didn't like you cursing at her, Edwards.
Sorry, Bess.
Self-sacrifice.
But you know, I'll be taking that plane anyway.
What the bloody hell? You lost! I beat you!
Wow, Blackburn is amazing. He was able to tie down Rackham while playing cards without getting noticed.
If you asked me to name my biggest fault, I'm just not a very honest person.
But weren't you just being on a... Oh. Well, Arthur, I mean, Blackburn probably didn't tie Rackham by the feet then. It's just added flavor to his retelling.
Yeah, this is one heck of a case. There are still more balloons. Move in and
It takes time for sound to travel. Our eyes will see it before we hear/feel it. I'm not to say whether we are far enough away from these blasts to experience this phenomenon or not, but it's a cool addition nonetheless.
Saints alive, your man must be
One hell of a pile.
Blackburn saying this in tandem with the boss man continues our thread of this is all retold from Blackburn, our honest narrator. Something you don't see often is outside of the main battlefield. Everything else is untouched. Wilson's alive.
Put your cards on the table, Blackburn, not George Rackham, are you? Son of the fourth bloody Earl of Windsor.
Wilson isn't as naive as Blackburn thought. Love how they laugh together through this revelation. More attention to detail with Wilson's voice being in your left ear while you carry him.
Wilson said I was a no-good, lying son of a bitch.
Blackburn? He called you a bastard.
Oh, you're lying. No good bastard.
Why can't you get your story straight? Oh, yeah.
More than I can tell you.
Right. Facing up to your crimes. Helping your flyboy. This is the coolest set piece in the whole game. Walking along a zeppelin with the skies lighting up around you, awesome. When it comes to survival, allegiances are quick to be thrown out the window. Everyone wants to live in the end. I might be mistaken, but that looks to be the two of hearts that fell from the sky. Possibly for our two men?
I wouldn't tell you if it wasn't. Would I?
You motherfucker.
Our task was to support Matteo's battalion.
Suiting up in armor to take on a mountain of bullets has got to be one of the most badass things I've seen in a World War game. I love good sound design. Hearing the gunshot outside versus inside the church is music to my ears. I've never seen anything like this goofball of a gun in my life, but I love it. World War I had all sorts of weird experimental guns in its arsenal. I love Foster. He's such a cute kid.
You know Morse code?
Yes.
Even though he's just a kid, he's still smart.
Level your gun. Yeah, okay, you're staying here.
Why do capes ever go out of style? I'm in firm belief that everybody looks better with a cape.
You're Australian. We're impossible to kill.
Well, you're freaking dead by the end of this. I feel dumb, as it wasn't until reviewing this footage that I noticed Foster was wearing the same outfit as Bishop, not just the hat.
We need a runner for the front lines.
Really? No.
Yes.
No. I'll do it.
Taking one for the team, or your new little buddy.
Nice shot.
Oh, well, you know, I just kind of saw him out there and I...
Playing it cool.
I gotta get that kid.
Jeez, it's only been about an hour and you're already feeling this responsible for him? Sure, he joined the war because of you, but taking responsibility.
What, again? You sure you didn't just want to shoot me?
I know you want to laugh, Bishop. It's not super fitting here, but the score is so pretty nonetheless. First she takes on a whole squad alone, then pulls this maneuver? Badass.
How enchanting you are, my dear.
What a gentleman.
I'm sorry. My friend here, she can be a little brusque.
What a gentleman.
The legend of Lawrence of Arabia dies tonight.
Comeuppance, you creep.
But you know that there's a chance the men may not come.
I guess I won't know either way until I set it off.
Zara's willingness to do her part no matter what. I love her character and wish we got to spend more time with her. And not just more time with her, but both of these characters. Am I the only one that wants to see a buddy cop game with these two? So this was a weird game to do, as it isn't just one big narrative to follow like last week's Horizon Zero Dawn. The multiple short stories is much different than the typical structure we get from our shooter campaigns, but I like it. I think it really lends itself to what I believe DICE's goal was with Battlefield 1. First, it allows them to keep a campaign in their game while not devoting a huge amount of time to it, and second, it achieves the goal of wanting to show many different perspectives of World War I, not just the typical Western Front trench warfare we remember most from the period. There are a lot of different stories to be told, and I really like that DICE highlighted that. The opening mission of the game with the Harlem Hellfighters. With the general reception of the game on its launch, it's clear not many people knew of the 369th U.S. Infantry Regiment. I surely didn't. But DICE including them is a great way to get people interested in history, delve deeper into the more nuanced stories from the time. Which is exactly what I feel like this game's goal was. It wanted to show that World War II was way more than the Western Front. It was a world war after all. I'm not huge on my World War I history at all, but I had no idea there was fighting in the Middle East or in the Italian Alps. But after finishing the game, it made me interested in learning more, and anything that gets you interested in learning is a win. This game is set in a historical setting, but that doesn't require it to be historically accurate. I'm sure you've heard it many times. A game that is striving for realism just won't be that much fun. Would you really want to play the opening mission over and over again, constantly being thrown in a new soldier's boots, or charge out of a trench to be met with a game over screen? Of course not. It's still a game, and DICE knows that. That's why we have armored up men taking down a mountain and others running along the top of a zeppelin. Because that stuff is fun, and that's okay in a game. And in a game, fun comes first. Some might say, it's disrespecting history, but I feel inclined to disagree. It's clear DICE did their homework on World War I. Just look at the readable material outside of the gameplay, and the opening and ending text of each mission. I like to look at it as everything between the text of our missions is our Hollywood remake of World War I, and not the Saving Private Ryan type. Of course it's not realistic or accurate within the gameplay, because it's a game. But I digress, because I'm about to start sounding like a broken record. I really had fun with the war stories. It's something you can blast through in an afternoon, which is nice. I think we have to balance out our RDR2s and Death Strandings of the world with games like this and Firewatch. Sometimes I don't want to commit to a game for tens of hours. Sometimes I just want bite-sized storytelling, which Battlefield 1 excels at. With each war story, they are quick to set up our characters and get the plot moving. And that's not to say they are hollow and boring because it's so quickly paced. I really enjoyed the characterizations of our characters in this game. And to that credit, it made me wish these stories were longer. For how short they are, they really made me care about them. Like through Blood and Mud, I love the tank crew setup a la Fury. These 5 men in a shell of armor working together. It's a great setup. I just wish we got to spend more time with them. We didn't even get to know a lick about Pritchard before he ate it. Or the relationship of Bishop and Foster. They are super cute together and deserve more screen time. This is a praise about how in under an hour they got me wanting more. If I were to grab one theme to sum up the stories, it's for how horrible war is, we as humans can learn from it. Learn about ourselves and others. Grow together and become stronger because of it. Not one of these stories has their protagonist in isolation. There's always another. And please don't take that as me being pro-war, wishing we had more conflict to grow, because that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, just like the opening, during these dark times there's always a light. And that light is generally other people. And finally, these stories were made to honor those who served, fought, and died. It's here to remember the lost generation. DICE didn't have to send a message in their pew-pew shooter multiplayer game, but they did. And it makes me happy to know that even AAA developers can still care about the material they're handling.
When this is all over and the war is won, they will remember us.
Leave me a comment down below on what game you'd like to see win next. And don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next week.